everyone, here we are again, 1.10 or 1.10, one more unit to go or one more lesson to go in Unit 1, but today we're going to be talking about energy flow and the 10% rule, which I know many of you probably don't understand the details of that, but it's going to make sense. You're probably like, oh, it's just that. It's just putting things into a little bit easier understanding. So at the end of this lesson, what should we really know? Well, you should be able to determine how energy decreases as it flows through an ecosystem. That's the big picture of this idea, is that as we go through those different trophic levels, which we just learned about, all right, as we talk about going from producer to consumer, consumer, we're actually going to be less available energy in an ecosystem. And a lot of it is based on different laws and different physical arrangements and metabolisms of organisms, which we're going to all elaborate on. How does energy transfer through the different trophic levels? Well, producers make a lot of our sugars and different things. They make that biomass, but it's actually really inefficient. It's only about 3 to 6% efficiency when we're talking about solar energy conversion into biomass, which seems to me to be a very alarming stat. The idea that photosynthesis, which is the basis of all life on this planet, is only 3 to 6% efficient. If you think about anything else in your lifestyle that was 3 to 6% efficient, it's incredibly low. All right, it's like a baseball player only getting a hit 3 to 6 times out of 100. All right, incredibly poor efficiency. But that is what all life, terrestrial-based life for the most part, is based off of this really inefficient process. Now, how does it actually work? Well, as we talk about producers making food, we're eventually going to be consumed. Now, the consumer that eats those producers is actually only going to obtain 10% of that available biomass that is consumed. So if you eat 100 units of producers' energy, I know it's just weird just to kind of make up these units, but just bear with me here. If you eat a patch of grass, for example, and it has 100 units of energy available for you to take in, your body will actually only be able to kind of get 10% of that. So you only get 10 units of energy. Now, why is that so low? Why do you lose 90% of the available energy? Well, it's due to your metabolism. It's an ecological kind of analysis. And what they've looked at is organisms are putting that energy into digestion, into thermal regulation, into growth and development. And all of those things are going to use up the energy. So you actually only really have 10% of that energy available for use. Now, that next level, so if we talked about the producers producing 100 units of energy, the primary consumer that eats that is now only going to get 10 units of energy. That secondary consumer that eats the primary consumer is only going to get 10% of that available energy. So meaning if you started with 100 units of energy, now you go to 10 units of energy, now you only have 1 unit of energy. So we start to see the amount of available energy in an ecosystem drops very rapidly. And the reason why it's dropping so rapidly is due to the energy expenditure, the way in which organisms carry out their lives. And what we're seeing is that there's less available energy for higher trophic level organisms. This makes sense in the big ecosystem picture. In order for an ecosystem to be effective, in order for an ecosystem to actually not collapse upon itself, it must have a very large base of producers. You must have photosynthetic organisms to produce the food for those subsequent layers or trophic levels. Now, as we work our way up, yes, there's less and less energy. It means that we can have less and less organisms at those higher trophic levels. What does this mean for organisms and the distribution of organisms? Well, here's a way to look at the amount of energy that's available as you work your way up. So if we're looking at what can the population of, for example, on the left-hand side, the population of eagles be equal to the population of rabbits? Absolutely not. If the population of eagles was equal to the population of rabbits, they would consume their way down and you would run out of energy, would have a massive ecological collapse. Or if we look at it this way, the number of mice eating the number of plants, if that is equal, then we are going to have major ecosystem collapse because there's not enough energy available for these things. Now, how does this kind of big picture cycle into humans? Well, think about humans and the food you eat. If you ate only up at the upper trophic levels, meaning you eat only meats or you eat only fish or high-level consumers, say for some reason you only want to eat, predatory animals, so you want to be only a tertiary consumer, that means the amount of energy that works its way up has to be that high. Or for example, think if you want to eat steak for dinner every night. Well, cows eat plants. So cows, being primary consumers, eat producers. Now, in order for you to get that steak every night, you have to have a cow that can eat that much grass. So you have to have that much grass to produce one cow so that you can have your steak. Now, if you were just eating at a different trophic level, so instead of being a carnivore or an omnivore, which most of us are, no one's just a carnivore as a human. If you were an omnivore, instead became a vegetarian, the amount of land available needed for human populations or per human is actually drastically less. So we want to talk about different ways in which you can make an impact on society. This is one of them. Eating at a lower trophic level will actually cause the planet to need less space per human. Now, why does this all happen? Well, it's actually based off of the second law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics, really summed up, is that as you go from energy level to energy level, the energy is never going to become as high quality anymore. It's going to lessen its quality. And therefore, it changes to heat energy. Therefore, it's going to change different forms. And we're going to lose most of that energy. So it's understood that a lot of what we consume is lost as heat energy or through the metabolic processes to help organisms grow. That concludes our talk about the 10% rule. Do you understand it? Do you get the idea that as you go up in trophic levels, there's less and less available biomass because those organisms have different metabolic processes they are carrying out that are going to use up the available energy? If you fully understand that, that is fantastic. You are in great shape. If you don't, I sound like a broken record, send me an email. We're going to work our way through it. All right. Hopefully you guys are understanding this. Like I said in the beginning of this lesson, only one more topic to go when we talk about Unit 1, and then we are done the first unit of the AP Environmental Science curriculum. So join me next time when we finish up Unit 1, and hopefully you are enjoying these videos as much as I am enjoying these videos. Have a great one.
You like that lesson? I know you did. So why don't you go ahead and smash that like button right now. Go ahead and comment. Tell all your friends about how great that lesson was. And make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to keep bringing you AP environmental content that you're going to want to watch. Or do whatever else those other YouTube channels tell you to do. And with that, Maloney.